When most people picture an uncontacted tribe, they imagine roughly the same scene. A forest with no roads running through it, no power lines, no phone signal, no glow of a screen after dark. A handful of families living the way their ancestors did 1,000 years ago, sealed off from the rest of us. It is a tidy picture. It is also probably wrong. We share a world where satellites pass overhead every 90 minutes. Cargo planes cross continents in hours. Boats push up rivers that once took weeks to travel. Logging and mining crews cut a little deeper into the trees every year. In a world this loud, this crowded, this restless, is real isolation even possible anymore? Maybe not the kind we imagine. Maybe these groups are not hidden from the modern world at all. Maybe they live just outside its edge, on purpose. And that changes the question we should be asking. We usually wonder what we know about them. The stranger thought runs the other way. How much might they already know about us? But hold that thought, because there is a third question hiding behind it, and it is an easy one to miss. If they have spent all this time watching our world from the edge of theirs, then somewhere along the way they have noticed something. Not just that we are out here, but how we live out here, and what we may have quietly set down in order to live this way. That is the question that turns by the end back on us. And that second turn is the one that stays with you. Survey planes pass overhead, roads push deeper into the forest each year. None of that requires contact. It only requires noticing. Isolation is not the same as ignorance. The same thing likely holds true inside the forest. A group can avoid every road, every outpost, every dot on a map, and still sense that something vast and organized is moving beyond the trees. So, what actually reaches them? Not explanations, not answers, just fragments. The drone of an engine somewhere overhead, gone before anyone can find it in the sky. Voices, and a motor carrying strangely across the water on a still morning. A machete left at the edge of a clearing. A scrap of plastic snagged in the branches that refuses to rot the way everything else in the forest does. Tracks along a riverbank that match no foot anyone has ever made. None of it comes with an explanation, and you do not need one to feel the weight of it, or to begin, quietly, living a little differently. The deeper question runs the other way, not what they have noticed about us, but what they have managed to hold on to that we have quietly lost. And what that says about the lives the rest of us are living right now. There is a quiet assumption sitting underneath all of this, that these groups stay hidden simply because no one has found them yet, as if their isolation were an accident of geography, just waiting to be corrected. The real story is harder than that. Across the Americas, contact with outsiders has again and again brought disease that wiped out whole communities in a single generation, along with violence, the loss of their land, and forced labor. In case after case, the groups that pulled back deeper into the forest were not running from nothing. They were running from something that had already happened to them, or to people very much like them. That changes how the whole thing looks. Staying hidden may not be about missing information at all. Sometimes it may be the opposite. Not that they never learned what was out there, but that they learned exactly what was out there and decided it was reason enough to keep their distance. Maybe they are not hiding from the modern world at all. Maybe they already saw it and chose. And the moment you start to see their distance as a choice rather than an accident, something shifts. The story stops being about them. It starts being about what exactly they are choosing to stay outside of. So they are not hiding from a world they never noticed. They are keeping their distance from one they have already seen. But keeping your distance from something is not the same as looking away from it. A single sign means little. But when the same sounds, objects, and tracks return year after year, they stop looking like coincidences and start looking like patterns. And patterns can be read. Which turns the question around one more time. Not whether they have noticed us out here, but what years of watching might have taught them, not about our machines, but about us. Think about the people around you. Most uncontacted groups spend their whole lives among the same small circle of faces, known completely, start to finish. For nearly all of human history, that was how everyone lived. Now picture a room full of people who care about each other, sitting together, each one looking down at a separate glowing screen. We call them the isolated ones. But we are the ones who built a world full of people and somehow learned to feel alone in it. Or think about how deeply they know the land, which plants will feed you and which will kill you, what it means when the birds go suddenly silent, which tracks in the mud belong to which animal, and how long ago it passed. They read the forest the way we read a page, without even trying, a language most of us never learned. None of this means they have solved something we have missed. It means something was traded away, almost without our noticing. The strange part is not that they kept these things, the close circle, the carried memory, the read of the land. It is how recently, and how completely, the rest of us let them go. At the start, the assumption felt almost too obvious. We know about them. We have the satellites, the maps, the research teams. They are the ones in the dark. But turn it around one last time. We do not know their language. We do not know their stories, or how they see us, or what they think we are doing out here. We do not even know how many of them are left. They, meanwhile, have been watching the same edge of the same forest for generations, reading the traces we leave behind. The gap may run far deeper on our side than on theirs. And if they have read us at all, it was never our machines they were reading. It was the pattern underneath them, that we are always arriving and always leaving, that we come in numbers and in a hurry, that we take more than we return and rarely stay long enough to see what we leave behind. They may not know what an engine is, but they may know exactly what we are like when we are near. That we arrive suddenly, move quickly, leave traces behind us, and rarely stay long enough to understand the places we enter. They may not know our technology, but they may have learned our behavior. That is the part worth sitting with, because measured against the whole stretch of human history, their way of living is the normal one, and ours is the experiment. For 200,000 years, this is how human beings lived, in small groups, among faces they knew their whole lives, their days shaped by light and weather rather than by a screen. The noise, the strangers, the 100 small alerts. All of it is only a few generations old, a thin sliver at the very end of a story, almost unimaginably long. So the question was never really whether they know our world is out there. They settled that long ago. The question is what they have learned about us while we were busy not looking back, and whether, after all this time spent reading us, they understand something about who we have become that we can no longer see in ourselves.